There's a line from Metaphor Refantasio that stood with me. Is fantasy limited to the confines of imagination? Would you call it a powerless creation? It made me think, what is fantasy really? We usually call a kid's dream of being an astronaut a fantasy, something sweet but unlikely. But what if fantasy isn't just make-believe? What if it's imagination with purpose? Imagination is one of the strongest tools we have. It gives us dreams, and those dreams become maps for those bold enough to follow them, to conquer fear, to step into the unknown, to explore what we've never been. Let me tell you my story. When I was a kid, I was never the best at anything. In elementary school, I was actually a grade ahead in math, and I was pretty good at it. But my friend Sam, he moved on to the next grade entirely. In recess, I was never the first pick, and most of the time I was the last pick, or second to last pick, for basketball and football. I just wasn't able to keep up with the other kids. We did races, and I would lose every time. And in band, I did that from 6th to 10th grade. Never once was first chair. In 6th grade, that's when I tried cross country, and this was just to try something new. Even then, I was pretty terrible. I actually got second to last in my first race. I think I ran my 2 mile in like 33 minutes. I walked in the next race, people were passing me. Pretty embarrassing. In 7th grade, I would end up moving schools, and I stayed in cross country just to make some friends. What ended up happening was I was the fastest on the team, and eventually I did track, and I was getting beat by teammates. I worked my way up though, and eventually I'd be the fastest distance runner. And then when 8th grade came around, that's when I was clearly the best. It felt good winning races and finally being the best at something, especially when you're getting praise from your friends and your teammates. And eventually I would qualify for the honor roll, which is the middle school state meet for my area. I would step on the line that day for the 3,200 meters, and I was ready to run my best time. And I was lapped. This moment would stay for me for a while, and part of me felt angry. Angry that someone my age destroyed me so easily. But part of me also felt happy. Happy that there was a lot of room to grow. And this desire built up in me, the desire to become better. Let's fast forward a little bit, because I graduated college this past spring. And now, there's a bunch of high schoolers faster than I am, and there's actually a high school girl that has mostly faster PBs than I do. Some of you guys may know that I've been learning Spanish.
I just want to come over and say hey, let you know that you are both muy hermosa. Gorgioso.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
grandissimo even.
In Japanese.
Anxiety, keep on trying me, feel it quietly, trying to silence me.
But what almost no one knows, even my closest friends, is that I'm a platinum trophy hunter. Running, language learning, trophy hunting. What do all these things have in common? It's the drive to become better, because I'm never content where I'm at. There's always one question lingering on my mind. How good can I get? Imagine this from my perspective. I'm going to high school and I see the school record board. I look at the 1600 meter record, 4:19.1. Okay, if I drop 15 seconds every season, I'll be at 4:17. I'll get the record. So I made that my goal, my passion in high school. So I start training hard. My mileage goes from 10 to 30 in 1 week. I'm running a lot of mileage and boom! Guess what? I get injured. That was one of the first lessons I should have learned. But shortly before that, I ran a 5K in 1912, and I was pretty happy with that. Looking at my future teammates, there was one guy who ran 17:11, and I was thinking to myself, holy crap, that's gonna take a long time to get that. I ended the season, and I did not run good at all. I'm thinking to myself, these guys have full beards, and I'm just a kid, just trying to survive out here. Eventually, I would make a smart decision and buy a pair of spikes for cross country. I got them for $10, and it was time for Eller Sharp, the Jackson Invite. And I ran a race, and broke 19 for the first time and ran 17:52. I was pretty happy with that. Not only was I happy, but I started gaining confidence in myself. Towards the end of the season, the fastest 5K I would run that year, I did in 17:20. I would go from 5:03, 10:54, and then 17:20. Not great splits whatsoever, but we got there. But there was something wrong with that, because I remember after the race being so frustrated because I didn't break 17. And remember, 17:11 was so far ahead of me, and now I'm complaining about running 17:20. Eventually the next summer would come and I really locked in and had a really good training cycle. And then something amazing happened again. I remember the crispy morning of the DeWitt invite. Just blue skies, green grass, and this gas smell everywhere. It reeked. Earlier that morning there was a gas leak, so our race got delayed. And how was I feeling after all this? I was actually pretty tired because the night before I was unsuccessfully raising a girl at homecoming dance. Anyways, when we got to the line, I just remember locking in that day. The girls all had PRs, so when I got on the line, I was ready. The gun goes off and I just did my thing. I just kind of sat back and just paced my way up. And eventually, by the first mile, I was in 5th place. And the people in this race, some of them I was familiar with. Eventually, I was like, I don't feel bad. I feel pretty good, so let's keep going. And I moved my way up past 3rd, up to 2nd place, right behind 1st. And that was about the 1.5 mile mark. But I stay on this guy, and we're battling through the woods, and we eventually come out to the 2 mile mark. And I'm like, something's really special happening right now. Like, I feel great. We get passed by this kid, and I remember making a choice to go with him or to stay with this guy I was with. I decided to stay with the guy I was with, not take any chances just because I felt so great. And eventually I would PR again. And the course I ran earlier, 2 weeks earlier, probably, I ran 16:54 there, and today I ran 16:09. Another almost a minute PR. I got kicked in the race, and the guy who I sat on, his name was Ransom Allen. And he would become an NCAA D2 All-American in cross country. There was something about that day, and just knowing that I really did work hard that summer and things were really paying off. And this race would ultimately teach me 2 things. 1, with hard work, I can compete with anybody. And 2, there's a dark side to success. The rest of my time in high school was pretty uneventful. I got 3rd place in honor roll and placed pretty well in the charity mile. And I would go through a pretty tough depression in 2020, and I wouldn't recover till about 2022. And I really made the decision to be really disciplined again in running. Our upcoming team looked pretty good, and I wanted to be a part of that. I had a pretty good summer. Things went really well that season. I did have some back pain in some parts, but one thing I didn't predict at all was I became an All-American that season. It was a really incredible feeling, but at the same time it was a little sad because our team didn't end up winning. There was something I noticed too, and as the mileage went up, the loneliness also went up. Running that many miles by yourself can be a little lonely at times, and I wouldn't fully feel this until 2024. That's when I noticed discipline isn't everything to success. There's something more to it. In this current moment in my life, discipline has transformed into something else, and I call it curiosity. How good can I get? What would be on the other side of all this effort? What am I capable of? I want to know what the answer is. Curiosity isn't just in running, it's in other parts of my life. With language learning, I can learn more about culture and people. I'm a Christian. Jesus is my Lord and my Savior. In the fall, I would like to read the Quran, learn more about the Islamic people. At some point, Judaism and Buddhism, I would like to learn more about those as well. I hope to build just a giant worldview and learn more about people and perspectives for life. You have to think that language is a way to step into another world. It's like in movies where they're speaking in different dialects of English. That's their world.
Smeagol, he was once called, before the ring found him, before it drove him mad.
Spanish for me is learning about my history through my dad's lineage. To really know them and connect with them, I need the language. Japanese is different. The sound of Japanese is pretty sweet and it's such a different way of talking. There's 2 reasons why I'm really learning Japanese. 1, the Japanese are some of the best runners in this world. The second reason is because I have a Super Famicom and I want to play Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest VI, so I kind of need to learn how to read Japanese. I would say though, Japanese is pretty important for me to learn because it has the most different life view of all. People in Japan don't have Christ. I'm curious to see how people without Christ live their lives out. I read this book, Shiokari Pass, and it's about this Japanese guy who eventually becomes Christian, and seeing his struggles becoming Christian. It's really interesting to me, and I would really like to learn more about that myself going to Japan one day. I might have a unique opportunity by traveling for marathons around the world. and I really hope to know those languages to connect with people of this world. Cuphead is a run and gun game. It's known for its difficulty and the challenges that come along with that. I played this game back when I was in high school with my dad, and the music and the look of it, the rubber hose art style really drew me in. And to be honest, I had a lot of fun with the game. It was very challenging and one of the hardest games I've ever played. But something that really stuck out to me was the challenges with the trophies that would come with that. I liked the game so much where I wanted to get the Platinum Trophy for the game. For those who don't know what a Platinum Trophy is, it's basically the top achievement for getting all the other achievements for the game. It may not necessarily be getting all the achievements for the game, but it's pretty darn close. I'm almost at 50 Platinum Trophies at the moment. The experience I had with Cuphead and getting the Platinum Trophy was a weird one. It's definitely one of the most difficult things I've ever done. There was two main things with the game that made it really challenging. That was Expert Mode and the Pacifist Run. To start off with the Pacifist Run, that's basically going through all the run and gun levels without killing a single enemy. And a lot of those times, it was just dying. It would take a long time, and you just have to get good, basically, and be able to survive. Maybe there's a little bit of luck with the invincibility and timing it right. Maybe that's more skill. Maybe I'm just bad at the game. I don't know. The second thing was beating all the bosses in Expert Mode. And that was really difficult for me for 3 reasons. The robot, the devil, and Wally Wobbles. Look at this video from when I almost beat him on Expert Mode and just died. I accidentally... Yeah, that was my experience with Wally. And to be honest, most of these bosses, it was a difficult time. So what do you get if you get a Platinum Trophy? Nothing. It's just the experiences you had. And to me, getting the Platinum Cuphead was really rewarding. I had a lot of fun with the game. There was a lot of fun and a lot of adversity to overcome. And eventually, I did get that Platinum, and it felt really incredible. The second game I want to talk about is Ratchet & Clank Going Commando.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yes, I suppose it...
All this time, my personal hygienator must have been causing that itch.
Anyway...
And that also has, I think, 1 or 2 trophies that was almost impossible for me. For one of the trophies, you basically have to get all the extra nanotech slots. I don't know what they're called. Basically, there was one that made it so difficult. That was a nightmare. That took so long to get, and it was so frustrating. But the second thing was even worse. Watching videos of this actually brought nightmares, anxiety, my hands would sweat. It was actually horrifying to watch these videos. Basically, in this section, you'll be in your spaceship and be going through all the rings. And you have to go through all of them to get the bolt. And it's called Platinum Bolt, and you have to get all the Platinum Bolts in the game. The spaceship sections are the only ones that gave me trouble. And when I say trouble, I mean trouble. I'm talking some of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. This trophy, I can't express it to you in this video. If you could just feel this, if you tried it, it's so hard. It's almost impossible. I thought it was impossible at one point. Despite that, I was really happy I did get the Platinum Trophy. But there's something really important about these trophies to me. And it's the experiences that you have with these games. For an example, behind me is a poster of Final Fantasy X. I'm currently trying to go for the Platinum for that, and if anyone knows about the Platinum for Final Fantasy X, it's going to be a nightmare. But I really enjoy this game. I enjoyed Cuphead. I enjoyed Going Commando. They're great games, and some of these memories will hopefully never leave me. I encourage you to try them if you enjoy video games. As I said earlier, there's a dark side to success, and that's when your discipline becomes idolatry. Idolatry is one of the worst things that you could ever do because you place your value in life into that. I've had first-hand experience with that, and I put running in the center of my life, and it almost killed me. Running is running. It's meaningless, but to me at the time, it was everything I had. As I said earlier, it was the first time I was the best at anything, and at a certain point, it was on my mind all day long. During class, when I got home, I was looking at results, comparing myself to others. I wish I could go back and change that part of me and just enjoy running for what it is and have that discipline side. I think I could have been much better, but more importantly, I could have been a better teammate, a better friend, and a better person to those around me in my community. Be careful not to fall in the trap of idolatry. You're putting everything on the line. Your self-worth, your happiness, your meaning. You're setting yourself up to break. Discipline is the careful and loving craft of showing up every day. It's a form of devotion. I believe as a Christian that God has gave me this as a spiritual gift, not to glorify myself, but to persevere through the struggle and be a light towards those around me. But what if you're not a Christian? If you're not a Christian, be present, be the protagonist of your life. Like any good main character, you're gonna fall down, but every time they stand back up, be that person. Take control of all your anxieties, your fears, all the pain you've ever had. That's what I've learned. That's what I've been doing. Take control of your life.